suicide, depression is the next big epidemic to hit the world, if it isn't already.
Depression and mental disorders are now the leading cause of disability in the world. And they are soon going to become the number 2 cause of death in the next 10 years or so.
I think for me, the idea really was to just change the way people in India and in the world look at mental illness and, give it the respect that it needs. I think it started with just a feeling. It started with just a feeling of not being completely there, of feeling like, like we spoke about, that pittish feeling in your stomach where, and just breaking down for no reason. And truly just feeling completely lost and not understanding what was happening to me. And my mother just happened to visit me, completely different context. And the day she was leaving, I remember breaking down. And I was extremely surprised actually today when I think back at how aware she was of what I was going through. And the first thing she did was to call a family friend, and Anna Chandy, who's a counselor. I think initially I was also reluctant to take medication. But I think at one point I was just extremely exhausted. I couldn't do it anymore. And I think that's when I decided to I said, okay, let me start medication. Let me accept this help that people are willing to give me. And I think a large part of one's road to recovery is to accept what you're going through, and to not challenge it, but to embrace it. And to actually allow your body and your mind to go through that experience and know that there is a road ahead that will get you out of all of this. I think for me, the idea really was to just change the way people in India and in the world look at mental illness and, give it the respect that it needs.
Depression and mental disorders are now the leading cause of disability in the world. And they are soon going to become the number 2 cause of death in the next 10 years or so. In India, something like 150 million people have mental disorders, and especially amongst youth. The average age of depression in India is 30. Women are twice as likely to have it as men.
Yeah.
And amongst youth, which is sort of defined as people under the age of 25, I think in the previous session, Karan said that roughly half of India's population is under the age of 25, and our country depends on them for all of the accomplishments it's going to make. There is one suicide every hour in that age bracket.
So I think if we included that in the curriculum and we introduce just the idea of the importance of mental health at a school level, there will be no stigma, because it's the same way as a child you're educating me about so many other things. So educate me about the importance of mental health the same way we talk about the importance of physical health. Suicide, depression is the next big epidemic to hit the world, if it isn't already.
Yeah.
And reach out to corporates, reach out to the corporate world. Tell them that it's so important in your workplace to identify what you're going through because the pressures are so high, to identify the people that you work with, to help them if you see sort of any symptoms. I think basically just to create the awareness, and hopefully one day, we also want to be the happiest country in the world. We don't want to be the most depressed. We don't want to be the country with the highest suicide rate in the world.